Coming up today on the Leipzig Loko, with Lokomotive Leipzig we get a chance to sneak inside the promotion spots as we take on table-topping Arminia Bielefeld, including a former player in Linus Zimmer, but before then, a chance for us to make the third round of the DFB Pokal for the first time as we take on Bochum from down in the Free Liga. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 44 of the Leipzig Loko with Lokomotive Leipzig here on Sean Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and as I said during the intro, coming up today we play a second round tie in the DFB Pokal against Bochum. These days in the Free Liga last season they were automatically relegated from the two Bundesliga, and off the back of that we get a chance to catch up with a former club captain in Linus Zimmer as we take on the table-topping Arminia Bielefeld. So if you're looking forward to those two games coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated, but we've got through a fair amount of games off the back of yesterday's episode, 2 games in the 2 Bundesliga, where we did take on both Glypha as well as 1860 Munich. If you missed the episode, a draw followed up by an impressive win. I'll leave a link to that one over in the top right corner. Thankfully, since then, our form has been pretty good apart from one rogue result, which we did get at the start of the month. First on, we took on a Paderborn team, just going okay so far this season, and thankfully did pick up a 2-1 win here. Got a good start for a Cueto goal inside the first 10 minutes. Unfortunately, just after half-time, did concede an equaliser, but thankfully, not too long off the back of that, we got a penalty, and Krasnicki this time did put it away after his penalty troubles he had in the first round of the DFB Pokal earlier this week. Hopefully, if he needs to step up from the spot today, that would have given him just a little bit more confidence off the back of missing 2 in that previous game against Magdeburg. So we got off to a good start, but then unfortunately, FM went and did some FM things. We took on a Darmstadt team who at that stage were down in the relegation zone and didn't play that well. We suffered a 3-0 defeat. To be fair, 2 of the goals we did gifted them right before halftime. Osman Tilgan with a back pass straight to a Darmstadt player inside our own half. So that allowed them to take a 1-0 lead into the break. They grabbed a goal not too long off the back of halftime, and then Anton Bulland, who came on for a Tilgan at halftime, he then scored an own goal. It was one of those games where all of that did go in Darmstadt's favour, and to be fair, since then they have actually found a pretty good patch of form as well these days. They are not that far behind us on the league table in terms of position, but fair to say, even though that one was away from home, it was a disappointing result, but thankfully bounced back nicely off the back of that. Krasnicki grabbed a double, including another penalty in this 2-0 win over Holstein Kiel. Good performance, and we did pick up all 3 points as we deserved to. And then off the back of that, we took on an Erzgebirge team away from home. This is a game over the past few seasons where we have played them, which has been a bit tricky for us. They're a team that is a little bit of a bogey one for us, but thankfully we just did enough to pick up a 3-2 win in a second half here that was full of goals. Clige with a quick fire double just after half-time. They grabbed one back not too long after, but thankfully Panzo Ernesto made it 3-1 with 20 minutes left. They grabbed another with 5 minutes to go, but thankfully we do hold on, having been slightly the better team in that game. So 3 wins from 4 since you were last here, and what that means is we find ourselves locked in on 5th on the table. As you can see, Darmstadt now right behind us, albeit a 4-point gap. So obviously they have risen significantly since we played them when they were down in 17th. That one loss we have had since yesterday's episode, but already a bit of a break between the top 5 teams and the rest. You could argue the rest are kind of at the moment in a relegation battle because not that much separating the teams in between 6th and 18th on the table, but a bit more of a gap to those towards the top end. Arminia Bielefeld down to us. Hopefully we can pick up a good result in that second game of today's episode, albeit by that stage we would have played 3 games inside a week, so maybe that will be a bit tougher. Might need to rotate our team just a little bit going into that one, but the form since yesterday's episode, as you can see, has been pretty good, and hopefully that will continue in the second round of the DFB Pokal, where we do take on Bochum. This team did get relegated from the 2 Bundesliga last season, so based on that, we should be able to pick up a win against these guys, even though it is away from home and on paper they look like a slightly stronger team than the Magdeburg one we defeated on penalties in the first round earlier this week. The immediate prediction is a little bit higher than Magdeburg, albeit, as you would have seen before on the homepage, previous meetings, 2 wins in our favour, so we can get a little bit of confidence from that going into this one. Unfortunately though, Tom Gall picked up an injury in training and he is out for 3 to 4 weeks with a hernia, so he'll be missing for most of the rest of our time before the winter break, which we will hopefully get to come the end of this week of the Leipzig Loko. But our starting ball-playing defender is out for a little while with that hernia. It does mean that Linus Zimmer will make his way into the first team, but apart from that, we're at full strength going in to today's episode, and hopefully for the first time we can make our way through to that third round of the DFB Pokal. We should, as we take on Bochum from down in the Free Liga before that big top of the table clash against Arminia Bielefeld. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode, the second round of the DFB Pokal. Bochum are playing 5 at the back, 2 defensive midfielders, 3 a bit further forward, so it is quite a defensive formation. Hopefully it looks like we're in better form. We can make the most of that. One change, as I said, Lucas Locke comes in for the injured Gal. Also Stankovic makes his way onto the bench with that injury, but on form you'd hope we can make our way to the third round of the Cup. And just shy of the half-hour mark, we eventually get the first highlight in this game. It is a throw in our favour so far. We have certainly been the better team based on stats, but it's taken a while here for this first highlight. Tilgan there was on the ball to get it back briefly, but unfortunately loses it yet again, and Bochum here will get a chance to play out from the back and find some space here down this left-hand side. Player ball forward. Thankfully though, Kudny, a little bit slow on that ball. He's already picked up a yellow card, and we get a chance here to build from the back in all yellow today. Ball forward there, and it's a lovely one too for Cliche, able to just get in behind. It's a great finish. He will pick up his 10th goal of the season. Boy, he's making a difference to us this season. We've been a lot better in front of goal, and that is the reason we have not got off to nearly as slow a start as we did last year. Huxer there, our right back, with a really nice long ball forward. Beautiful curve on that, right into the path of Cliche. Tucks it away bottom right corner, and we grab a 1-0 lead, just shy of the half-hour mark. And that was the lone highlight of the first half in the second round of the DFB Pokal. And as you can see by the stats, we have certainly been the better team in that first half, matching our XG close enough, actually slightly outperforming it, and we do take a 1-0 lead into the sheds, and everyone out there at the moment is actually playing quite well. If we can get another goal, that would be really useful. We are going to be in the middle of a bit of a storm week here. This is our second game inside of a couple of days, and then the Arminia Bielefeld one is only a couple of days off the back of that as well. So if we can take some players off early in this game, that would be greatly appreciated, but we'll keep things the way they are as we get the second half underway with that 1-0 lead. And only a couple of minutes into the second half, yet again we get a highlight here, which does start with a throw in our favour. Pretty similar spot in terms of field position to where that first one was, just down the other end. Seems we have switched around for half time, but Locke here now is on the ball, takes his time, plays that one over for Dorenzo, tries to hit that one into the mixer. Tilgan does very well to pick that one up. The goalkeeper completely off his line. That's shocking from the Bochum goalkeeper, and that is a cushion goal. Nice and early in the second half. It's exactly what we want with this quite quick fire week that we do have here at Lokomotive Leipzig. Hopefully now we can hold on at least to this 2-goal advantage, but that is a very strange goal. Goalkeeping position here, not really too sure what he's doing. That's far too big a gap there at the near post, but Osman Tilgan scores his first goal of the season and puts us 2-0 ahead. And shortly off the back of that first highlight to make it 2-0 in the second half, now we have a corner. Tilgan picks out Racine. Bullock will score his second goal for the club in the cup, and that will surely wrap up our path now through to the third round of the DFB Pokal. It will be the furthest we've gone in this competition so far. Near post corner, it finally comes off. We make it 3-0 10 minutes into the second half. And just past the hour mark, we get things back underway here with a goal kick to Bochum. Haven't made any changes just yet. Did check things out at the hour mark, but to be fair, no one's struggling too much just yet. Big chance there though for Janssen off the back of a bit of an overlap there. Numbers for Bochum, but thankfully they missed the target, and it remains 3-0 to us. And about to make our way inside the last 20 minutes of this game. Bochum now are starting to get a bit of momentum in this game, but thankfully it should be a little bit of a case here of too little too late. Innocente plays that one forward though for Kike top, and that's actually a good finish to get that one past Krapakas at his near post, and that will make it 3-1, but still, you'd hope we'll be able here to hold on to this win and make sure that we can make our way through to that third round. You'd think so, being a team in a higher division, but that's a good goal off the back of a set piece, and it is now 3-1, and off the back of that, our first player is down to a red heart in Lucas Stankovic can come on for him for around about 20 minutes left. We are up by 3-1. And shortly off the back of that goal back to Bochum and our first substitution, we do have a free kick here which Krapakas does take, and he gets this ball back, it looks like here, from Lucas Lok, but so far up until that goal that we did concede, it has been a good performance. Might look to use the rest of our substitutions shortly to make sure, hopefully, we have close to a full strength squad available for that game in the 2 Bundesliga against Arminia Bielefeld, where a good result could see us move into a promotion playoff spot. So that is a big game coming up in the league, but hopefully it'll be off the back of making our way through to the third round of the DFB Pokal. Now, Clegia inside the box goes down, no penalty. Then a header there from Quieto, but unfortunately that one comes off the post. It gets cleared out for a throw, but will stay 3-1 with 15 minutes left, and indeed lots of players here are down 2 red hearts. We're going to take off the ones who are only going okay, and that was Quieto. So Sungbin Kim can come on for him also. I think we'll take off our wingbacks. We'll shore up that defence for the last couple of minutes of this one, so both Bas and Ernesto can make their way onto the field, and also we'll give Krasnicki a bit of a break, seeing as he's found some good form here recently. Michael Wusu in need of game time a bit more than someone like Leon Heinke, so that will be the last of our substitutions. Still 3-1 up with 15 minutes left. And we're just making our way into injury time in the second round of the DFB Pokal. Thankfully, we have held on to that lead that we did build up just post half-time. 3-1 here off the back of that goal, which Bochum did get back in that second half. Good chance there for Innocente from a free kick, but thankfully that one goes over the bar. That is the last highlight of the game. Off the back of that, it is full time, and we pick up a pretty comfortable 3-1 win. They did grab one back with 20 minutes left, which did make things a little bit more interesting, but we had that one pretty well wrapped up shortly after half-time. Clegia with that goal in the first half, then Osman Otilgan with a goal and an assist early in the second half. Good to see, because I think it's fair to say so far this season Otilgan has been a little bit down on his form from previous seasons in the save, so good to see him stepping things up there, albeit against a team from down in the Free League. Also interesting to see there that Clegia has picked up a minor injury. Hopefully that one is not too serious, but that is a good win, 3-1, and it will mean we can make our way through to the third round of the DFB Pokal. We'll just make sure that injury to Clegia is not too serious, so hopefully he will be available for that second game of today's episode. Also, Owusu has picked up an injury as well. We get a decent chunk of money for that when Owusu out for a few days, so he probably won't feature in that second game of today's episode. Danny Hummel might have to come up from the seconds to sit on the bench for that one, but Clegia should be back in time for that Arminia Bielefeld game off the back of making our way through to the third round of the DFB Pokal with a 3-1 win over Bochum. And a few days later, we are back for the second game of today's episode in the 2 Bundesliga, taking on table-topping Arminia Bielefeld. A few changes for us. Both our wingbacks have been changed out, so Ernesto and Bas will start. Also, Manati comes in for Kachala. All those guys quite injury-prone. Arminia Bielefeld going with a 4-3-3. Linus Zimmer only makes his way onto the bench, but this one will be tough, even though it is at home. But a win here could see us move into a promotion playoff spot. And it's taken 5 minutes for the first highlight in this game. It is a corner here to Arminia Bielefeld. Thankfully, Krapakas, the big Lithuanian in goal for us, can come out and claim that one. Hopefully, a decent performance coming here yet again, even though we have made a bit of change because of tiredness in this free game week that we are now coming at an end of. So hopefully, we do still find a way to grab some points here at home, even though we are taking on the team on top of the table. Good work there from Bas, who comes into the team to win that one back for us. He might have actually come off at half-time. Still only recommended for 45 minutes in games off the back of that injury he suffered not too long after coming to the club. Nice ball there, though, from Quieto for Thibaut Clegia. He will grab his 11th goal of the season. Has been a very consistent goal scorer for us, which, as I said earlier, has been really nice off the back of our struggles in front of goal last season. And that is a dream start, only 6 minutes into this one. Lovely through ball that from Cueto. Cliche puts that one away, bottom right corner, and we take an early 1-0 lead. And only a few minutes off back of the opening goal in our favour. Now we go down the other end here for a free kick to Arminia Bielefeld. Fairly similar colours to that first game of today's episode. They are in the dark. We are in the yellow this time with the blue shorts. And they try and find some space here down the right-hand side or left-hand side for them through Barra. Just makes his way towards the byline. Now starts to go on retreat. Huck makes his way onto the edge of the box. They knock it around there down that left-hand side of theirs. Now Schulz from outside the box, he will find Iglov. They're taking their time here on this highlight, which is a bit concerning, but Huck there with a shot, thankfully, actually not that threatening, and it remains 1-0 coming up to the 15-minute mark. And just past the half-hour mark, yet again, it's a highlight here potentially in favour of Arminia Bielefeld. It's a free kick there, which Schulz gets his head on the end of. Thankfully, though, that one comes off the post and Tilgen somewhat deals with the danger, and a bit fortunately, we stay 1-0 up. And that was it for the first half, and this one thankfully took an early 1-0 lead there thanks to that nice through ball from Cueto, and Cliche, as he tends to do, it looks like here, put that one away. And from the Arminia Bielefeld did actually get on the front foot, but thankfully the woodwork did come to our aid once, and we do hold on to our 1-0 lead. A few changes here at half-time. We're going to take off both wing-backs, so Ernesto on the yellow card, and Bas only recommended for 45 minutes, so our regular first-choice players and Huxa and Dorenzo will come on for them, and also Anton Bulland for a Tilgen, unfortunately not going as well as he did in that first game of today's episode. But apart from that, fairly happy with how things are going here against the table toppers. We'll get things back underway and hopefully hold on to our 1-0 lead. And we've made our way just past the hour mark in this game. No highlights so far in the second half. Just checking on player fitness though, obviously with this free game week, and Rustin Bullock is down to a red heart, so Leon Heinke will come on for him, still holding that 1-0 lead. And about to make our way inside the last 15 minutes of this game, and it does feel like a good time for us now to make our last substitution. Quite a few players out there are down to red heart, so I think with the 1-goal lead though, we will take off Maladi here in place of Matteo Cacella. That does seem like the best option. Make sure that defensive midfield is a bit fresher than our attackers, so we can hopefully be solid defensively and hold on to this 1-goal advantage. And just about into the last 5 minutes of this game, it's been a very quiet second half so far, but in a game against top of the table, don't mind that too much when we are winning. So with 5 minutes left, we are going to start to time waste a little bit, be more disciplined, and also, as we usually do when we have a narrow lead late in these games, slow the pace down with our goalkeeper distribution, and we'll hopefully be able to hold on here in these last couple of minutes once we do adjust some opposition instructions, albeit they look all good from when we did make that last substitution about 10 minutes ago. Cacella coming on in that deep-lying playmaker role. As you can see, stats-wise, we have slightly had the better of things in this game. Hopefully that does remain that way for the 3 minutes of added time, albeit late. Highlight here is a throw-in in favour of Arminia Bielefeld. They have the ball here on the edge of the box. Good slide tackle there though from Krasnicki. Forced one of their players, but thankfully that shot, looking for that top left corner, does go over the bar. Now we have about 40 seconds left here to try and make sure we don't give them any more good chances and can pick up what could be potentially a really big 3 points in this one. For some reason, Krapakas pumps that one deep instead of distributing to fullbacks as he is supposed to do. And Arminia Bielefeld here will get on the ball. I think Zimmer has come off the bench in midfield of all positions. Now Cueto, good interception there. The ball finds its way to Krasnicki. Poor pass, and now Zimmer there he is, can pump that one deep. Setter, nice ball and big chance here for Igorov late in the game, but thankfully just puts a little bit too much on that one. It's the last kick as well. Big chance for them there to grab a late equaliser, even though the match story doesn't actually show that chance as being too great of one. It did look like a pretty big one-on-one with the goalkeeper, but thankfully that very early goal that was scored through Thibaut Cliche from that lovely through ball from Daniel Cueto is the difference maker, and we continue a very good run of form since yesterday's episode. Just that one strange loss against Darmstadt, albeit, as I said, they did go on a good run off the back of that, but that is a good 1-0 win against top of the table. Quite an even game with those chances they did get late, but for now, that will put us in a promotion playoff spot to try and make our way up to the Bundesliga next season. Hopefully we can stay there once the other games get played on this match day. But a very good 1-0 win there over top of the table, Arminia Bielefeld. So, two good results in today's episode. We made our way through to the third round of the DFB Pokal and also beat the team who are still on top of the two Bundesliga, 12 games through the season, which is a third of the way through the season. Only 6 games left before we do enter the winter break here, the halfway point of the season. Unfortunately, Augsburg did pick up a 1-0 win over St. Pauli, so it does mean they jump above both us and Hamburg. So we've just dropped outside of that promotion playoff spot we were briefly in, but still in quite a good position, just goal differential making the difference here a third of the way through the season. Hopefully, if we can continue this form that we have found off the back of yesterday's episode, we might be able to jump above those teams like Hamburg and Augsburg and maybe get a bit of a gap on the likes of Hanover as well, but certainly in a pretty good position here for our second season in the two Bundesliga. Hopefully, we can sneak our way into one of those promotion spots going in to the halfway stage of the season, which will probably be coming up in tomorrow's episode, the last one, before we do enter that winter break. But that will do it for today's episode. As I said, 2 really good results, making our way through to the third round of the DFB Pokal, and we are right in the promotion hunt in the two Bundesliga. If you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. First up, we have actually had the draw for that third round of the DFB Pokal. It won't actually take place until early January, so I imagine that might be the first game we come back for at the start of next week, but it is against Bundesliga opposition, so things are going to get a bit tougher for us there, even though it is at home. We take on Schalke. Those guys currently find themselves up in 8th in the Bundesliga, certainly one of the better teams we're taking on from that division so far in the save. But coming up in tomorrow's episode, I think we'll play St. Pauli off camera, and then 2 interesting games at home. Augsburg, the team who just jumped above us on that 2 Bundesliga table, a win over those guys should get us in that promotion spot with a few games left before we do enter that winter break. And off the back of that, it's another home game. We take on Sandhausen. Those guys all the way down in 12th. They were a team that did get relegated, though, from the Bundesliga last season. So that could be the trickiest of those games left before the winter break, off the back of that big one where we do take on Augsburg. But those will be the 2 games that we do come back for in tomorrow's episode, the last one before we do hit that winter break. Off the back of those 2 further games that we do have in December for next week, we can hopefully pull off an upset in the DFB Pokal against Schalke. But until tomorrow for that Augsburg Sandhausen double, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.
Thought I could do this, slept through the sadness. Don't know how I ended up so lost. Sink through the deep end, hurt and defeat.